Hello, online crew. Welcome to today's live. Thank you for those of you that are joining me live because I am an hour and a half earlier than I normally would be because I'm hosting a Facebook advertising webinar in less than 30 minutes. So, yeah, thanks to those that are on live. I know there's some people in the UK that prefer this time because it means they can be awake for it. But we're going to talk about today sales, closing sales. How many of you struggle with closing the sale? So you may have somebody interested, you started a conversation, but then you don't know where to go from there. You don't know what to say. You don't know how to lead somebody to the sale. You've really got a problem with conversion. So converting the conversation to a sale. How many of you could use some skills to increase your results in that area? If you don't know how to close sales, I know people say it's not selling, you're just sharing, you're not selling. True to some degree, but you need to talk the talk. You need to have the language and understand the psychology of what makes people make a buying decision. When you understand the psychology of what makes people put their hand in their pocket, you are going to have a better chance of actually converting your conversation to a sale. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk a little bit about on today's live. So how is everybody? You having a good day? If we haven't met before, my name's Helen Martin. I'm your online crew captain, which means I'm just here to serve this amazing community we have here of home-based business owners, entrepreneurs, those of you that are building a business from home and trying to do that, and utilize social media through that, whether it's organic, whether it's paid, whether it's personal profile groups or business pages. We talk about all of the above. I am in the industry with you. I have my own e-commerce business online in the health and wellness sector, and I'm doing everything that I'm sharing with you. So I know what it's like in the field because I'm building a team of my own. Okay, so if you are new to our community, please say hello so we can give you a special welcome here. We really do have the most amazing crew here, so they are here with open arms to welcome anybody that's new here. So let's see who's live with us. We've got Crystal, hello. Mel, good morning. Patricia, good morning. Hello, Kim. Good to see you here. We've got Heather here as well. Crystal's one of our live members. We've got Janine on. How are you, Janine? Clarissa from the UK. See, I'm early. Good to see you on. Hello, Gloria. We've got Christine as well, Susan, and a lot of these guys here. I'll be on that boot camp next week. Awesome, Gloria. A lot of the crew here that are on live and will be watching the replay have been in our 21-day online crew video challenge, and people are finishing off either yesterday or today, this evening, depending on what time zone you are in. So awesome job, guys, in finishing that off. We've had an amazing group of people in our most recent round of the 21-day online crew video challenge. So make sure you watch my first video next week where I announce the top 15 of that challenge. So I've got a whole lot of auditing to do this week on that when everyone's finished. But amazing, amazing job, guys. I hope you just embraced that experience and loved it. And don't forget, from September the 14th to the 30th in our free social media group, so it's called Social Media Strategies for Home Business Owners, we're doing an Acts of Kindness movement for 2.5 weeks. You do something nice for somebody, and you will go into the draw to win some really cool prizes. So free lifetime membership to my coaching community, which has got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of social media training in there, and a $100 Amazon voucher. Second prize is a $100 Amazon voucher and a free month in my coaching community. Third prize is a free month in my coaching community and a $50 voucher. So you just do something nice for somebody, track that in the free group, Unit 10, in the social media group. If you don't know how to access that group, go to my website, helenmartinonline.com, and you'll see a link to the group there. Join the group, go to Unit 10, check out all the details, and join us on September the 14th. Okay, we've got Christy. Hello, good to see you on. I struggle with conversion and closing the sales. Most people do, Crystal. You're not alone there. That would be me, 100%. Cool. Hang on, I lost you all. Hello, Cindy. How are you? Doing awesome. Lovely to see your smiling face today. How was work? Heather's had an injury and she's been off work for a while and she's just had to go back to work. I'm sure you're loving it, Heather. Good morning, Jacinta. How are you? Hello, Janet. Totally could use some tips. We've got Hero as well. We've got Shanae. Good to see you here. Anybody that appears like that, you just need to click the very bottom link in the description of my video. It means you're watching from the group. So the social media strategies, because it's a group and it's not my page, you need to give the piece of software that I'm using permission for me to see you. So just click on that link above. People have been dropping off. So it may be somebody that I already know. We've seen you before, but StreamYard has been dropping people off. I think it might be connected to the new version of Facebook. So just click that link above again. We are great here in Canada. Awesome. Hello, Megan. So your StreamYard's back, which is good. Hello, Claire. Great to see you from Scotland. Had so much fun once again. Awesome. I love all 10 challenges I've participated and completed. Now that's an effort. That is definitely something to be proud of. Hello, Chantel. Great to see you on. We've got Cynthia. We've got Beth. Great to see you guys all jumping on. So thank you, as I'm not live in my normal time. I'm getting the hint that people like me going live earlier. If it was only that easy every day. Anyway, let's talk about, because I do have to host this webinar in about 20 minutes. So let's get on to the content. So, a lot of people say it's not selling, it's sharing. Yes. Do we want to outrightly sell? Not necessarily. That's quite old school. You want to educate people into a buying decision. This is the difference. Most people go in for the hard sell. You're trying to convince somebody about how good your stuff is, how good your company is. Even those of you that do Facebook advertising, there are people that you would talk to on Zoom calls and things like that. Like anybody that you're having a conversation with about your products or your business, whatever it is that you do, you need to know the lingo. You need to know what triggers people to buy. So you've got to be really in tune to this. And most people aren't. And it's something that we need to learn. It's a skill you need to learn. You're not born with it. We come into this industry and it doesn't mean you know how to convert any kind of sale whatsoever. So it's something that you do need to up your skill on. And this is what I'm going deep into next week in my coaching community with the Closing Sales Bootcamp. The details are above if you want to look into that. That might be a bootcamp that you want to consider because this can help you make more sales in your business, okay? But we don't want to outrightly sell. We want to educate people into a buying decision by what we say to people. We pick up on some of their language and then we utilize that language to dig deeper to get to their buying trigger. So just be very aware. Buying decisions are not by mistake. Humans do not do anything by mistake. Humans are motivated by certain things, and those certain things, meaning triggers, will dictate whether somebody buys or not. So let me say that again. Humans don't do anything by mistake. Humans do things by motivation. Now, that motivation is triggered by certain things. I'll give you some examples in a minute to make sense of this. And those triggers are generally coming from a need that has been unfulfilled. Okay, so let's just look at this simply. So you put food in your mouth for what reason? Well, some of you might put food in your mouth like I do, just because you work from home and you're picking. So there might not necessarily be a need, but let's by the by, how many of you do that? That you work from home and you just pick because you're home. COVID, gotta love it. Actually, I worked from home anyway, so that's not really relevant. But you eat food because you're motivated by, you've got a hunger, you have a need that needs satisfying. Okay, just like in its very basic form, think about that. Like you drink because you have a need of thirst. You've got a need for water. You've got a need to drink. So you have a need that needs to be satisfied. And when you've got that need that needs to be satisfied, that's your trigger for the motivation to drink something. So in its very simplest form, are you following me? So somebody has a need of some sort, and that provides the trigger for the motivation to do what they need to do. In our case, when we're talking about sales here, it's the buying decision. Now, you guys may not know there are 8 core buying triggers. I'm going to share one of them with you on this live. But there are 8 core buying triggers in the human psychology. Do you have any idea what they are? Throw some at me in the comments section. I'll share one of the main ones with you in a second. But there are 8 core buying triggers. Now, when you know what these are, and you can listen for that, and you know, I know which way to steer this conversation. I know what that makes this person tick because of what they're saying. That's that buying trigger. Okay, I know where to lead this conversation. How many of you know what the core buying triggers are? Because when you do, and you can pick it up in someone's language and steer the conversation a certain way, then you're going to have far better results with closing a sale, because you're going to pick up on their innate need because of what they say, which is their trigger, which gets them motivated to buy. When you know somebody's motivation and their triggers and what their need is, and you can satisfy that need and follow that all the way along, then the buying decision is much easier to make. Now, just to give you the heads up, next week in my closing sales bootcamp, I'm going through all 8. Okay, so you guys are going to be equipped, and that's just one topic out of I think 6 topics that I'm going through in closing sales. We're going to talk about how you posture yourself. We're talking about getting conversations to conversions. We're talking about all sorts of things to help you close sales. So this is just one of the topics that I'm going to be going into next week. Okay, so one of the main triggers. So I'll look at your comments shortly. But one of the main emotional buying triggers is fear. Okay? Just think about that for a minute. What do you fear? When you think about that for yourself, what do you fear regarding moving through your life for the future? Do you fear not living life? Those of you that are parents, do you fear not being able to spend enough time with your children? Do you fear not having enough money to get by? Do you ever look forward and think about retirement and how the hell are you going to, fund the lifestyle that you want to lead for the rest of your life? One of the major buying triggers is fear. Okay. Now, when you ask the right questions, that's a different conversation. I'll go into that in the boot camp. When you ask the right questions and you can identify a need which is unsatisfied, that need will be that person's trigger, which will motivate them to buy your thing. Okay, you're following along. I know it's a little bit cryptic, but when you can lead the conversation a certain way or ask some certain questions, and somebody says something to you regarding, I don't want the years to go away and not see my kids, not grow up with my kids. I want to work from home. I don't want to miss out, these younger years. And, what is it that they're fearful of? What's their innate need that is not being met at the moment? When you can pick up on whatever the need is, one of the main core 8 triggers, then you can dive a little bit deeper. Somebody that has that need, you don't want to talk about the ingredients of your products. You don't. So most of you will have some kind of idea when you speak to somebody about what you're going to say about your products or your business model or your system or your marketing system or the duplication. There's things that you know that are good about your company and your products and whatever, and that's what you continually talk about. But you're not driving the conversation to what the person's innate needs are. Okay, so some of you may not have the opportunity to get that deep, but this is where we want to go to close the sale. And that comes from the questions that you ask somebody, which some of you are not doing or don't know how to do. You just go into the sales pitch. I'm trying to say, did you catch that? I was trying to say speech and pitch, and it came out speech. That's something so that I do. I just come up with my own language. So there's a new word for the dictionary, speech. Okay, it's a speech and a pitch all in one, speech. Okay, another Helen Martin word for the dictionary. So you go into your pitch, and it doesn't matter what they're feeling, thinking. You're not even really listening to what they're saying or their words to know. So the skill that I want you guys to come away with this next week in the coaching community is when you listen to someone, it's like, oh, that's the buying trigger. That's the fourth buying trigger. Not necessarily that you'll know them in order, but by the questions that you ask and what somebody says, you know what their buying trigger is. So you know how to change the conversation to meet their innate need, and whatever you've got can satisfy that need, which is going to motivate them to buy because they're triggered by the lack of the need that they have. Are you following along with me, guys? This is, if any of you have done any sales type training and, converting the sale, this is stuff that you need to learn and upskill in this industry, because at the end of the day, even though people are saying to you, you're not selling, you're just sharing. Yes, you are sharing your products and business opportunity and whatever. But if you don't know how to convert the conversation to a buy, and somebody's got this need and you're talking about ingredients when their need is something else, that's not going to convert to a sale. You want to tap into that conversation so much that the person goes, yes, this is exactly what I need, because you're so in tune with satisfying their need because of what they're saying to you. Most people are not listening to what people are telling them and having those triggers of, oh, that's their driver. That's their trigger. I'm going to hone in on that. And you go deeper and you go deeper and you go deeper, which is now getting into the psyche of their motivation, because you've tapped into a need, which is tapped into their trigger, which is what motivates them to buy. Okay. It may not all make sense at the moment, but it will when I go through this in detail next week in the coaching community. So it's massively, massively powerful. When you know how to get into the human psychology of what makes people buy, you have the secret weapon to closing sales. You can change the conversation to the needs of the person rather than just going into what you think you need to say to people. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, we've got this and we're in this many countries and we've got the rarest ingredient that no one else can get in our products and we've got a really unique range and, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Nobody cares about your product. They're motivated by an innate need that is not being met. That's where you need to go in your conversation, okay? But that comes down to the questions that you ask. And some of you are not asking the right questions, okay? Does this make sense? Do you think this might be helpful for you? How do we get to chocolate? Chocolate, is that your need? I've missed something there in a conversation. I'm a seafood eater. I see food. Oh, when I was talking about food, okay. I see food, I eat it. Hey Emma, how are you going? I don't eat until later in the afternoon. I do intermittent fasting. Yeah, I do intermittent fasting intermittently. Does that make sense? Sometimes I'm amazing at it, and sometimes I'm just not. So I do try to do intermittent. I'm going to host a webinar. How am I going to spit out my words? What's going on? It's early in the morning and I can't even get my words out. No, Susan, I need one. Okay, emotional triggers. Yes, but they're not always emotional, but generally, yes, people are triggered by their emotions. You guys will go and buy a new outfit because of the emotion behind it. You've got a need. What's the need? What's the innate need? Well, I don't have anything in my cupboard that is good enough. I need something new. I have a need, for something new. But it can be triggered by an emotion behind it. I feel better trigger. Yeah, definitely emotion. Hey, Laurie, how are you? Fantastic. Regret. Ooh, could be. That'll go into one of the 8. Fear. Wow, for me, being fat like my sisters. It is legit, wanting to work, but wondering if it's legit. How do you get them past that? So you're just talking about a specific objection there. That's one of the things that I'll be going through in the boot camp is, all sorts of different objections, including that one, Laurie. So hold that thought. I know you're in the coaching community. How do you get them past that? So there's ways and means. You guys have got to be absolutely upskilled, not only in working out the psychology buying triggers and leading the conversation a certain way, but being so skilled in handling any objection that comes your way. So I'm going to go deep on that in the boot camp as well. which does lead into another topic of posture. You guys have got to have just the utmost posture of the industry that you're in. Yes, it's legitimate. I laugh at questions like that. Like if so, just to give you an example, is it legit? And I'll ask them, what do you mean by that? So I don't even buy into being defensive or anything. I will try to get an understanding of what's going through their head, because that could be coming from many different angles in what they mean by legit. Normally what people will come back with in this industry isn't that kind of pyramid selling thing, like something like that. So someone said to me, is it legit? I'll say, what do you mean by legit? And you just laugh with the person, you agree with them, you ask for their understanding. So what do you mean by legit? What are you thinking it is? And then they'll say, oh, isn't it one of those pyramid things? And I'll say, they're actually illegal. Like those pyramid things are actually illegal. Do you think I'd be involved in something that's illegal? So, something like that. So just laughing about it and pointing out, that's illegal. It's like, or you use the classic one, feel, felt, found, the famous Eric Worre one. It's like, yeah, I know how you feel and what you're thinking, because I kind of felt the same way too when I was first introduced into this business. But what I found is that's actually illegal. So no, I wouldn't even involve myself in something like that. Like that's just a myth and things that get thrown around, because there are companies that just don't do it the right way. But I've definitely done my research and I found that is certainly not the case, with this one. So again, you're agreeing with the person, you're not being defensive. So there's a few ways to sort of handle that, Laurie. We'll go into that deeper. But particularly that one, when somebody says, oh, isn't that whatever? Just say, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And see where they're actually going with it and what their thoughts are. So then you can say, yeah, I kind of understand where that's coming from and how you feel about that, because I kind of wondered when I first got introduced to this industry whether that's what it was about too. But what I found was XYZ. That is your savior for any objection, without going deeper into it, which I will next week. That can save you with any objection. Pain, pleasure. So yeah, that comes down to needs as well. Fear. I do fear not enough time with my kids. I'm working to leave a legacy for my children. Fear of serious illness in terms of helping others as a health coach. Yeah, agree with that. You are so funny, Helen. Spitch. New one, guys. Spitch. I have a fear of going into the sales part of it. And that's all to do with posture, Crystal. People can tell when you waver. People can tell when you don't have conviction. And you might have conviction in your company and what you're offering, but then when it comes to the sale and you think you're selling, then you guys, some of you have, you waver with that, and it shows when you're talking to people. So having posture around the process, the questioning process, listening to what people are telling you, and, steering the conversation in a certain way will help you with that, Crystal. Because it's the fear of selling that a lot of you have that then sends you into a spin about all the wrong things that are not connecting with the individual's triggers. Remember what I said before, humans make decisions. It's not by accident. Humans are motivated by certain things, and they're motivated by triggers, and the triggers come from innate needs that they have. So when you can sort of work your way through that and be really cluey to that and upskilled in that and lead the conversation a certain way, then you're more likely to get to the sale. Okay? Make sense? I love the way you work through that objection. Awesome. Value. I can see them being shocked if you ask them back, what do you mean by that? Yeah, because you know what most people do with objections? They go into the defensive. And that's the last thing any of you want to do with an objection. So somebody say, oh, isn't that a pyramid scheme? And people say, well, no, of course it's not. Well, you think I'd be involved in something like that? Like, get real. Like, we go on the defensive. Now, you can say something similar in a different way by your tone and your language and the words that you use. But, just throw it back and then say, what do you mean by that? Or what are you thinking around that question? You can use that with any kind of question that's an objection. It's going to be way too expensive. So what are your thoughts about how much, it might be? I mean, that might not be relevant depending on, you just have to gauge it with the conversation that you're having. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I've got 5 minutes to host this webinar. But I would highly encourage you, if you have problems with getting from the conversation to a conversion to a sale, you lack posture in talking about the sale, you lack experience and skill with dealing with objections, you don't know what the core human buying triggers are, I would highly recommend you join us on the bootcamp next week. So you can join our that's delivered in the coaching community. You can join that community for $1. Have a look around for a few days, see if you want to stay. It's a very, very small amount of money for a massive amount of training that could make a massive difference in converting your conversations to sales. So hopefully you see that as something that is worthwhile. Okay, so I better run. Thank you for those that were on live that have joined me earlier than I normally am. If you need more information about that, click the link above in the description. Join us in the coaching community. This could be one of the powerful skills that you could learn in this industry. Okay, so I will see you guys normal time tomorrow. Bye.